to the 18th January 2012 council meeting. And as usual, we'd like to start this meeting with the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Carlson?
Here.
Councilmember Dottie?
Here.
Councilmember McKeithen? Here. Vice Mayor Lewis?
Present.
Mayor Whitmer?
Here. So next order on the agenda is a proclamation to retiring Atherton Sergeant Tim Lynch. So if you'd come forward, please. So this proclamation is in recognition of Atherton Police Sergeant Timothy S. Lynch, and whereas Timothy S. Lynch, a veteran police officer with more than 31 years of dedicated service to the town of Atherton, and whereas the City Council and the town of Atherton, along with the entire community, would like to honor the contributions that Sergeant Lynch has made during his law enforcement career. And whereas Sergeant Lynch's involvement as a crime scene and evidence technician and coordinator of our K-9 team, and whereas Sergeant Lynch's organizational skills and his ability to manage our monthly patrol schedules made him an invaluable asset to this organization, and whereas Sergeant Lynch worked tirelessly over his 3 decades of law enforcement service, which included the following ranks: reserve officer, patrolman, detective, corporal, and sergeant. And now therefore, as the mayor of this town of Atherton, and on behalf of the City Council and the entire community, I'd like to commend you for your outstanding community service and your distinguished career, and wish you good luck in your retirement. I'm just seeing you as I go out on my walks. Occasionally I see you out there.
I'm still working.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'll be here.
What's one? You want to say?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Tim once again on a tremendous career here, more than 30 years. I don't know that I could do 30 years in one place, and that's a tremendous accomplishment, and he should have the gratitude of all the citizens of Atherton. So fine job, and good luck to you in your retirement.
Thanks. Okay, and also we had a comment from a resident here who would like to say a few words. Tim.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, Chief Lynch, Chief Flint, Sergeant Lynch. I'm here to do 2 things. One, thank the Atherton Police Department in general for all of their help to me and my family over the 33 years we've lived in town. But even more specifically, to thank Tim Lynch for his specific action and assistance to my wife and I almost exactly 4 years to the day tonight. If Tim hadn't been with us that evening, I'm not sure where we'd be today. Tim, I can't thank you enough.
All right, and now we have the chief is going to make the introduction of the new sergeant.
Sergeant Brad Mills. Sergeant Brad Mills is Atherton's newest police sergeant. Brad was born in San Francisco and raised in San Mateo. He started his law enforcement career with Foster City as a cadet explorer, and also moonlighted at Penny's as a loss prevention officer. In 1989, he put himself through the Evergreen Academy and became a police officer shortly after, a reserve police officer with the Atherton Police Department. And with that same year, 1990, I believe he became a full-time police officer with the town of Atherton. Brad has really distinguished himself with the department, has served in just about every capacity you could think of with the department, from motor officer, acting sergeant, and field training officer, which in my estimation is field training officer is the closest thing to being a sergeant without actually being one. I'll say another thing about Brad. He went through a very competitive process to become a sergeant. It wasn't a good old boy, I'm next in line, get promoted. He competed against both internal and external candidates. There was an outside interview panel process that involved community members, a member from the academic community, and folks from the public safety. And Brad went through that, as well as a couple of other hurdles to get this recognition. So he earned it. He earned it both in terms of how he presented himself in that process in a distinguished 20-year career serving the town of Atherton. And I have high hopes for Brad that he's going to do an outstanding job and continue to serve the citizens of Atherton. And we're very proud of him for being our sergeant. I also want to introduce some other folks here. His wife Kathy down in the front and his daughter Samantha. They're here. And I want to say hello to Skip in the back. Skip Mills. You might get the connection, Brad Mills, Skip Mills. Skip is a volunteer with the department, and sometimes you probably see the dare car running around. It's usually Skip driving that, and Skip put all the work and effort into that along with Ken. And Skip, thank you very much, and thanks for taking such good care of your son and making him a good officer for our department and now a sergeant. So congratulations. Did you want to do any DQ photo shoot here? All right.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Brad and Tim. The next part of our agenda is public comments. Now, this portion of the meeting is reserved for public to comment on items that are not as part of the agenda that we have here in front of us today. And also be aware that the council cannot take any action on any of the public comments at this time. So first up, John?
John Buckheit, 34 Selby. And I wanted to echo Phil Lively's comments. The Atherton Police Department has done a lot for me also. Or maybe to me, I don't know what the right word for that is. But anyway, Jerry, Happy New Year to you. Yes, I know you have a lot on your plate. I've heard from past council meetings there might be a recall in the works for 3 of the council members, referendum in the works, maybe some legal action. And from what I've read, the reason is because the council outvoted you, and there hasn't been enough discussion or debate on the issue of where to put the library. But then I remembered that last May, you decided that the ethics committee proposed by council members McKeithen and Widmer could not even be discussed. That is, you voted against it even being put on the agenda for debate, discussion, or public comment. And you were not alone. Elizabeth Lewis joined you, and so did Jim Dobby. Now, speaking of which, I don't know why there's no vote on this new town center. I haven't been asked to comment on it. I noted when I walked in the room that the #1 goal is new public safety offices, but that's not my #1 goal for the town center. Now, Jim Dobby told me after that May meeting that we don't need a committee. He just needs to hire the right management for the town of Atherton. And I agree that the management now is much better than it used to be. But I think that none of us really knows how long that will last. None of us knows how long Mr. Danielson will be here, although I think it would be wise for him to be extended as long as possible. None of us know how long Mr. Flint will be here. So I think we need policies and processes and not to rely on people. Now, the other thing I noted from the last council meeting that perhaps an ethics oversight board could have prevented was the death of the police dog Lottie. And came up in a rather cavalier way in which it was noted that, quote, on November 30th, 2011, our canine Lottie passed away after she ingested a sago palm, a deadly plant that is extremely toxic to animals and humans. But it did not say that this plant was in the backyard of her handler, Officer Dean DeBlue. It did not mention that he was paid $407.67 per month to take care of this dog. It did not mention that Redwood City veterinarian Kathy Jennings said, quote, a sago palm is on a list of 8 plants considered common garden poisons for pets that she gives to all of her clients. It didn't mention that the Whitmer Tyson Imports dog training and grooming facility which gets tens of thousands of dollars a year from the town of Atherton, never warned the officer about this, or he did not heed their warnings. It didn't mention that the town of Atherton invested over $42,000 in this dog over a 2-year period that is now gone, wasted, down the drain. And we're looking for some accountability on that, Chief Flint.
Are there any other public comments? Denise?
Denise Kupperman, 74 Atherton Avenue. The Atherton Dames will be holding a Valentine's dance. It's a family dance. It'll be held on Saturday, February the 11th, and we encourage most of our residents to participate. We really think it'll be a wonderful event, and all the proceeds will benefit our fundraising for the park. And if you like any information, you can check our website, which is www.athertondames.org, I think. Anyways, thank you.
Where's it gonna be?
It will be held in the pavilion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
Happy New Year, everyone. I haven't been to a council meeting in about 6 months when we veered off into the library location issue, which seemed to me to be an awfully nice problem to have, and I'm sort of open on my opinion on where it should go, but it is clear to me that the library has every right to not want to get hijacked by the town center project. It is their money, and they could get delayed for years, and I can understand them wanting to put some distance physically in between that and the town center. By the way, it looks an awful lot like Palo Alto and not like Atherton, which reminds me of what's going on over there in Monday's paper. It says here that in 2007, even before the recession, the voters said they didn't want $80 to $100 million police and fire facility, but it looks like they're going to be asked to float a bond or for a parcel tax. I agree with John's question. If there's discussion about we need to ask the residents to vote at some expense to put it on the ballot about the library location, why were we never even asked? I can't believe all these posters up on the wall. Why have we not been able to vote on whether we even want a new town center or what we want in a new town center? I thought we were broke and couldn't afford one. I know it would be nice to have one, but we're broke. And now I've got nervous and I can't remember what else.
Any other public comments?
I have a public comment to make, and if you'd like, I'd be happy to step down from the dais.
My understanding is that city council that we should bring that up during other agenda items.
It'd be more appropriate. The public is not, everybody here is not public. So you certainly have the privilege of making council comments on another section under the agenda, I believe, don't you? Something?
I don't wish to wait till the end.
Council.
I'd be happy to step down, but I don't believe.
I don't think you have to step down, but it's really, kind of the council's prerogative whether or not to set aside the rule.
Okay.
Thank you. A lot of people in this town have a lot to say about what council members should and shouldn't be doing. A few people in the town, when it comes to time, find the means and the wherewithal to step up to the plate and to run for council and sit in our shoes. I don't think any of you can possibly know how difficult a job this is. I've done it now for 13 years. 11 years. My math is even gone, and I used to be the #1 person in math in my high school. But that's what being on council does to you, I guess. 11 years now, and I have to say it has been one of the most incredibly difficult jobs I've ever had. People are quick to judge. They're slow to try and find out what the actual facts are. They say all kinds of things about you that are untrue. You have to put the best interests of the town, something that I've always tried to do, before my own self-interests or my family's interests. And sometimes those have been stifled altogether because of the best interests of the town and what I believe those to be of paramount importance. I've had the livelihood of my husband and my children threatened in these 11 years. I've had my home vandalized on many an occasion after council meetings, especially in the last few months. I have had people in my backyard in the middle of the night doing who knows what. I have had police cars rounded around my home on a number of occasions. I have had to have my house checked for bugs. It's not a pretty picture. This is all done without salary. We're one of the few jurisdictions, the only one I know of in the vicinity, that does not pay its council members a salary. And all too frequently, we have to absorb expenses. Not have to, but we choose to absorb expenses on our own. With that, one could say it's all part of the job, although I would have to say that some of the things I've had to endure and my family's had to endure on my behalf and the behalf of this town has gone beyond the job. But what has been going on for the last 3 years as a council member, and the kind of what I believe to be inappropriate abuse by a fellow council member, is totally inappropriate. We have rules of conduct, and they include such things as working together to assist in the affairs of the town, conducting ourselves with dignity, style, refraining from hidden agendas, double talk, gossip, backbiting, and other negative forms of interaction, focusing on issues and not personalities, and trying to not create barriers to implementation of an action once the council has chosen to go forward with a certain action. I have endured insults, petty remarks, demeaning references, threats, untruthful remarks, and I think I've had enough. Many of them you cannot hear on the tape that is being produced. I know because I listened to it a couple of times. And you can't see the foot that's being hit against another council member when the person makes a remark that is not satisfactory to this council member. You can't hear the quips or the negative remarks. You can't hear or see even some of the laughter. But I think I'm tired of it, and I would like to say that indeed we should be conducting ourselves with excellence, and I would ask that our new mayor take it upon himself and we all commit to conduct ourselves in a civil manner. By the way, I have in the past made many an attempt to try and resolve this in a manner that is not public. I have consulted clergy, I have consulted a counselor, and we have tried to work this out in a private way. It has not worked. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Or comments from any other council member? Yes.
My name is Sean Barstad. I'm speaking on behalf of resident 51 Mount Vernon. I feel a little bit out of place, so I'm sorry for giving a little lividity to this. And I do want to thank all the police officers and for what you guys do. And I also want to thank you guys for what you guys do. It's a lot of hard work. I'm here to propose a street name change in the township of Atherton. I propose that the street Mount Vernon be renamed Willie Mays Way. I was going to present a long argument, but I don't think this is really the place for such talk right now. The reason why I'm doing this is because Willie Mays is a great asset to this city. And we all know who Willie Mays is and his Hall of Fame credentials. But I'm here to present his softer side. And we need to get back to him. So, well, I'm here because, well, I'm president of Little League, and I asked Willie to throw out the first pitch for us. And this is how Willie and I became friends. He told me that, nobody's ever asked him to throw out the first pitch in Little League before. So he came out and threw out the first pitch for us. And I also coach over at Stanford. We had a kid that was injured, and he asked to come to the hospital to sign a ball and do what he can for him. I'm proposing this. He also has the Willie Mays Foundation. He takes care of underprivileged children. This is his main thing. And basically, I can sit here and tell you about a lot of things that he has done, but I'll spare you on that. But my main thing is to come here and ask if we can move forward and change the name of Mount Vernon to Willie Mays Way. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment section. There was no closed session, so hence no report out of the closed session. And so we'll move to item 6, which is the city manager's report. John?
Only Mr. Mayor, if there's comments or questions.
So in your report with the Public Works, this would be, I guess, directed to the Public Works Director.
Please.
In the reportable items for the parks and facilities, it talked about park maintenance with emphasis on converting over to two-wire system. I just had a question about what that was. And then you also talk about prepping the sandbag area for residents, getting ready for the rains to come, and I just want to make sure everybody is aware that we do provide sandbags for residents in flooding, and I wanted to just get the exact location of where that is so residents can come and get that, because I know that one year I needed to do that, and it was a great asset.
Yes, as far as your first question, the two-wire system refers to the sprinkler system.
Oh, okay.
And it just is providing a different, more update system as far as controlling the sprinklers.
Okay.
And as far as the sandbag locations, I'm going to ask Dave Wynn. Fortunately, he's here tonight because I'm not sure of where in the past we've had those.
The sandbags are located behind the trailers that the permit center is located. And then there is also sandbags. The actual bags are located right adjacent to it.
So really what you have is a pile of sand and some empty bags, and you get to bag your own, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So it's a good public service. If you look at the report of the building department fees for the first half of the year of fiscal year 12, it looks like we're on track for $870,000 in fee revenue. So I just think that the building department's doing an excellent job of turning around the permits, and that should be noted.
Okay, are there any? Yes.
I've noticed there hasn't been a closed, sir. If I'm not mistaken, there has not been a closed session for many, many months. And while Peter Carpenter might hail that as evidence that all business is being conducted out in the open, I have a different potential conclusion, which is that certain business is being handled by appointed employees rather than being brought to the attention of the elected representatives. And I would think that the trend should be to not have that be the case on an ongoing basis.
Any other comments with regards to the city manager's report? Okay. So then I move that we accept the city manager. We don't. Okay. So we don't need to. Great. Sorry about that.
Not accepted.
Okay. Now we're on to the consent calendar. So in this area, which is going to encompass items number 8 through 17 proposed. Any council member can ask to have one removed. We'll ask the council members first, and then we'll go to the public and see if the public would like to have any items removed for further discussion. So we'll start with Kathy, you got your hand up?
A quick point, very quick point I need to make on numbers on number 11, and I'd like to remove item 16, please. I would like to clarify item 14 for one of the residents in the audience who's on the Transportation Committee by just making a statement.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have some corrections that I'll give to City Clerk on the minutes. And then I also have a quick comment and question on actually items 10 and 11. And then I need to recuse myself from item number 14. And I also wanted to pull number 16.
Mr. Mayor, if there's going to be comments on the minutes, they have to be made in public.
In public?
Yep.
Okay.
You said they're typographical errors.
They're typographical errors.
Okay, so then.
Like dollar signs
Your public
and
comments would be
apostrophes.
there's some typographical
Sorry.
errors.
Okay,
That's fine.
typographical errors.
Jim?
16 and 17, I think maybe one's been removed already.
Okay. Jerry?
I'm fine.
Okay. And I think that there was a change to number 10. Mike, did you want to comment on that?
Yes, there is a correction on the notice of completion on item number 10. We inadvertently left Duncan's name on there, and that name should be replaced with mine. We apologize, and we'll make that change prior to the final being signed.
Okay. Does comment? Public? John?
Yeah, item 14, it says approve the recommendation of the Transportation Committee to install new school crossing at Emily and McBain. Well,
John, that's the one I'm going to address for you.
well, anyway, it's not true. The reverse happened. We didn't approve that.
I'll address it.
What's up, easy?
I said I'll make a statement about it for a resident in the audience.
Okay. No problem.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just say one thing. We do have Richard Nickler, who's the Executive Director of CCAG, here tonight. If anybody had a question about number 12 regarding the smart corridor, Richard came tonight to try and answer any questions you might have.
Maybe we should pull that in this one.
Well, does anyone have any questions, I guess? Is it, yeah.
Yeah, I had my discussion with Mike today. I'm in pretty good shape.
I think it's a pretty good staff report that's pretty self-explanatory, so. Thanks for coming, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we've got Kathy with a comment on 11, clarification on 14 and 16, Elizabeth 10, 11, and 16, obviously Jim 16 and 17, and John was 14. Any others? From the public, yes, John was part of the public. Okay. Well then, oh, yes, Melinda, I didn't see, I'm sorry.
We're pulling, I wanted to comment, I think, on 16, so because it's getting pulled, I'll be able to, right? Okay.
Yes.
Is that the same for 14? I just have really a clarification.
Okay. So I would like to, let's cover the ones that were up. Let's go ahead and move to, have a movement to, motion, sorry, to approve the remaining items on the consent calendar.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, let's go to number 11. So I guess Kathy, you were the first one to hold that.
Okay, number 11, all I need to point out is that the numbers don't add up, Mike. If you add the 168,300, the 197,783 to the additional 24,400, you're off by an amount. I think you better go back and look at your numbers. You're a couple of $100 off, so you need to clarify that in the staff report. Either it's not 29,430, maybe 29,630, but somehow or another the numbers are not correct. It totals 222,183.
Okay, what? Is it okay if I add those numbers again?
Sure.
What I'm
If you add 168,353 to the 29,430,
the numbers that I'm seeing is 197,983, and we're adding 24,000.
it should be 197,783.
All right, we'll check that and correct that then.
Elizabeth, you had a comment?
If you see, Mike, on the second paragraph on page 2, the phase 2 was approved in the amount of 168,353. It was increased by 29,430. That brought the total for construction to 197,783, not 983.
Okay, thank you.
I just had the same kind of question, but except that you know, it goes with item number 10. Item number 10 and number 11. We've been kind of pestered by the San Francisco dusky-footed wood rat, a threatened mammal, and I was just curious as to how many they may have had to relocate. And I think Councilmember Carlson may have a photograph, a picture of what one of these little buggers look like. And so, did you ever see them? And you know, it seems like our budgets kind of got skewed because of that. And we were talking about relocating them.
Our project engineer, David Wynn, is here this evening, and I think he can answer your question regarding how many.
We relocated 10 nests.
10 nests?
10 nests. Usually there's about two wood rats per nest, depending on if they made it or not.
Do they go into people's homes?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Do they go into people's homes?
I don't know.
But so they're a threatened mammal. I mean, I'm trying to get rid of rats in my house and everything, but.
So you don't know if they go into people's homes or not?
Under and outbuildings, but not really inside.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, because of them, it cost us another $30,000 to $50,000 on both of these projects, and so it made our budgets go over.
Well, it's the same as the red-legged frog.
Yeah. So that was just my comment. Otherwise, you know, we had to do it.
Are there any public comments on number 11? Nope. Seeing some, come back to the council. Any final comments?
Move adoption.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I'd like to combine 10 and 11 with that. Can we?
We've already moved, so I move we approve number 10.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We move on to 14. There was a comment that was going to happen on 14.
We did discuss this at the Transportation Committee meeting, and it was, you were there, Mike. I don't know, it was unclear. Did we actually approve the crosswalk subject to meeting with the residents, or was it such that we wanted them to come back to the Transportation Committee?
Well, I do have my notes from that meeting, but we probably should refer to the official minutes. But what I have from my notes is that that it was approved, that you supported Menlo School, who volunteered to cover the cost, that the suggested location was on the south side of McBain. That's the area that we went out and field studied, and that the committee asked that the school have a community meeting with the community, which happened. Don't remember the exact date, but that date is in my report.
And one resident showed up.
And one resident showed up, correct.
But a vote was taken on this by the Transportation Committee?
I believe so, but we ought to check the official minutes.
That's what concerns me. If a vote wasn't taken, did we actually vote on it, or does it have to go back to the Transportation Committee?
That, I don't know, we'd have to, I'm sorry, we'd have to refer to the minutes.
Any other council questions?
Do you want to table it then?
Well, that's what I think we have public comment first. Let's hear the comment.
As a member of the Transportation Committee,
Can you step up to the podium, John? Thank you.
as a member of John Ruggiero, Stockbridge Avenue, as a member of the Transportation Committee meeting, I remember we had a long discussion. There were 2 or 3 citizens there that were upset about this not being notified. They live on McBain and Emily. And the final thing that I remember is that we were going to wait until the school of people, officials, met and talked to all the residents in that area before they decide action on this. Is that, Kathy, you were there, is that what you were understanding?
I don't remember us taking a vote on it.
No, there was no vote.
So I don't, yeah, I remember asking the school to go back to the residents and having a meeting, so I don't know that we took a vote and said that we approved it. So that's why I'm wondering if it has to go back to transportation for purposes of
I
procedure.
assumed it was going back.
Yes.
We certainly can put it on the next transportation agenda.
So do we want to,
City clerk says there was no vote.
okay, so,
We'd just be withdrawing that.
You can withdraw it, you can table it, you can direct it, a whole gamut of issues.
we'll send it back to the
They might just withdraw it.
Transportation Committee. Why don't we send it back to the committee for official action? Back to Transportation Committee. So there's a motion to send it back to the Transportation Committee. Can I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay?
And I recuse myself, because I live nearby.
Okay, 16, I guess Kathy and Elizabeth and Jim. So why don't we start with Kathy?
I would not be in favor of hiring a recruitment firm for the permanent city manager. If we are going to do this, I think we should approach it in a couple of stages. The first, I think, should be, let's wait and see what happens with PERS and what they say. The second should be to